So don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. He seems quiet for the minute. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. It's the 1st of May. It's also a Saturday, which means that it's time for a brand new mission inspiration over on our Facebook group. Now this month, the prompts and the colours and the ingredients have all been set by good friend Gina Aarons, who's also an admin on the Facebook group. So I'm going to turn over to my overhead camera, show you the prompts for the month, and then we'll crack on and I'll try and create something using as many as I possibly can. Okay, so these are the colours, the theme and the ingredients for the month. So we've got finding the light. Even in the times of harshest stress, there is always a bit of light. To find it, one must be open to seeing it. So the colours we've got are teal, purple and grey. And the ingredients in no particular order set by Gina this month are labels, markers, found objects, clock or clocks, and paint. Okay, so incidentally, Gina tells me these were our wedding colours, teal and purple, a while ago. So I'm working in my Mission Inspiration journal, the triangle journal. I'm working this way around. I've only got the clamps on the corners just to hold the pages down because it's getting a bit thick at one side now, because I've been working from the front to the back rather than just randomly, which is what I really should have done really to start off with. So what I'm going to do is, looking at the prompts, the colours that I'm going to use are, let's just move that out of the way because I should really have just brought in the colours first, shouldn't I? So I've gone into my Dina Wakley collection of colours, and I've got blackberry, and I've also got, I knew it wouldn't last long, hello Mr. Bentley Booze. I've got turquoise, hello sweetie. So those for the main two colours, but for the greys, I also pulled out elephant, but I don't think there's very much left in this. So I've had to delve into my Americana collection and bring out slate grey. But while I was in there, I also found Morning Mist, which is kind of a almost like a heathery kind of purpley grey. So I thought that might be quite useful. If they're a bit too dark, I've obviously got some whites on hand as well, just to lighten them up a little bit. So we've got the Snow White or the Titanium White from the Americana, and I've just got the white from Dina Wakley, but there's not a lot left in there as well, so I really do need to replace that sooner or later. But failing that, I've got some white gesso, Gesso Good, from my good friends Kane Alfie at Indigo Blue. So those are the colours that I'm going to be playing with today. So, finding the light. So when I sat thinking about this prompt, I kept picturing in my head that kind of Zen, kind of Buddhist kind of image of the silhouette of a head with all of the universe or whatever like in the background. And I thought I would try and create something, or try and recreate something along those lines. So I started delving down into my collection of images that I've got on my computer. Couldn't find a suitable one to create a silhouette on my computer, so I had to go to Google, I'm afraid. I just did a random search for Head and Shoulders silhouettes, and I found this one. So all I did was print it out on my computer, on the printer obviously, and then I've just cut it out because I don't actually want to glue this down. I'm not going to put this. What I want, I'm going to use this as a mask as opposed to an actual silhouette. So that's what I'm going to use for that. I then started having a look for some of the ingredients. Didn't really want to add any kind of metallic things. I want to try and do a flat painting today. I want to try and do a flat page today with minimal kind of layers, if you know what I mean. So as I was going through all my bits and pieces, obviously I found some markers. So I went and got some markers out. So I've got a black, which has also got glitter in it from Pebeo. So that's an acrylic marker, but black metallic. Obviously got a white Posca pen. I've also got a white acrylic marker from Pebeo, and also a turquoise one, or turquoisey teal. But they're not metallic, so the whites and the purples of the teals are not metallic. It's just the black one that I bought the wrong one when I bought them ages ago. So I've got those for the markers. Labels, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with that one yet. Found objects. Well, as I was going through my bits and pieces, I was also looking for kind of like images of clocks, and then I stumbled upon a cutout of a napkin that I'd obviously already started a while ago and completely forgot about. And guess what, look, it's a clock. And it's a found object, so I'm going to put that in there somewhere as well. So that's that. And then paint. Well, you've seen the paints already. So apart from the labels, it's pretty much everything. That's all the ingredients. So I think we're good to go. So, enough waffle from me. Bring my page in. What I want to do is I'm going to try and cut the clock face out. So let's put that at its right orientation. And then put that over the top a little bit so I know pretty much where it's going to go. Now I can't decide whether to leave. No, I'm going to cut it out, I think. Or I'm wondering about the gold rim around the clock face. I think I'm going to leave it. So what I want to do, I want to cut it. So let's get some scissors. Scissors. Right. So we'll just whip around that. I suppose I could use a wet paintbrush or a water brush and just go around the edge and pull it to fray and feather the edges, but to be honest, it's not that thick. So it's not like it's, you know, like thick paper or anything. You're not really going to see too much of the edge, so I don't really think it's necessary. And I'm not even being too careful with the cutting out, as you can see. Let me just get a bit closer maybe. The napkins are very delicate, so you just have to be careful. Get rid of those bits. Alright, so we're there. So if I put that about there, I'm going to bring it down so it's just touching the top, and just grab a pencil or just something to make a quick mark, just so I know where it's going to go. Alright, so glue wise, I'm going to stick it down with a little bit of matte medium. I'll try not to get my fingers in this because I always end up with dry skin and I can't find any of my gloves. I think I've taken them all back down to the car for use when we go out, because even though here in the UK lockdown restrictions and quarantine, all that kind of stuff is slowly being lifted, I'm still using, obviously we're all still wearing masks and we're all trying to wear gloves when we can and that kind of stuff. So I've got some household disposable latex gloves, non-surgical grade obviously, that I've been wearing and using in my art, because I can't touch this stuff anymore because it sends my fingers and my hands weird. All the skin drops off my hands after a couple of days of touching this stuff. So I know. So the answer is don't touch it. Now I'm going a bit too hard there, aren't I? Because I've already started to break it up. Okay, it's already started to break up, see? Push too hard. Right, let's get this dried off. Okay, so that's now dry, so I'm going to bring in my silhouette shape, just so I make sure I've got the right kind of, yeah, that's about the right kind of height. About there. I don't mind if it's a little bit offset. So I know pretty much where I'm going now. So I want to now start adding in some of the colours. So let's start off with a little bit of that turquoisey colour. I'm going to put a little bit down here, as if there's much of it left. There we go. And I'm just going to grab the brush. This is the same brush that I used the matte medium with, but I'm not all that bothered. So let's start just a little bit of water, because I want it a little bit more translucent. I don't want it fully opaque. I'm just going to add in some brush strokes. It's not going to be a real heavy coloured page, this. Just want to be able to see the clock a little bit through, but not totally obscured. I'll do some on the edge in a little while, just to kind of hide it a little bit. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so now we've got that, let's get that dried. Now that my turquoisey tealy colour is dry, I'm going to bring in the grey, but I'm going to mix it with some white. It's a light grey anyway, but it's not light enough. So I'm going to mix in some white. But I'm not necessarily going to mix it. I've picked up a bit of the brown, a bit of the grey and the white on the brush together, so I can get almost like a duotone effect. Half and half. And we'll continue to kind of add those colours going outwards. It's time to blend them together a little bit. The grey and the white. White in the grey. Don't forget, I can always go back again and add more in later of the white or the grey. It's a really interesting effect, don't you think? When you do a half and half brush. It's different. Okay, so it's cleared that mess up a little bit. Got some water here, get that dried off. Dry enough, I think. So what I also want to do is just to kind of obliterate that a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring in some gesso. Put a little bit from my finger just on that worktop. There we go. Just get it all mixed in. So it's a little bit weaker. And I'm just going to go into the middle and just kind of run my finger around that middle portion, just to kind of knock it back a little bit. Give it a quick blast because it will die back. And just keep adding it's warm. I can feel the heat still in the paper. I'm going to keep on adding it until I've got the right kind of depth. Here we go. I think that'll do. I think there's going to be a little bit of to-in and fro-in, because I think I'm going to add a bit more of the teal. You notice I haven't used any of the purple yet, because anybody that's been watching me on my YouTube channel for any length of time will know that purple is not my most favourite colour. Even though it's not my favourite colour, I still do use it. Because I don't want to limit my palette. Even though I don't particularly like it, I still use it because it's needed. You can't avoid it. I think if people try and avoid certain colours, then they're kind of really denying themselves, which isn't good. Better. Much more of a turquoisey tealy colour fan than I am a purple fan, but even when there's not a lot of paint on the page, you can still get a good effect, or a pleasing effect, I suppose. Well, it's pleasing to me anyway. And seeing as this is my art journal page, I'm only trying to please myself, aren't I? So, I had a comment recently on one of my older YouTube videos when I kind of like first started, and whoever left the comment said, you know, I didn't particularly like this page because X, Y and Z whatever, and I thought to myself, well, I didn't do it for you. And what arrogance to think that something on the internet is there solely for their pleasure. You know, just because they didn't like it didn't mean to say that somebody else didn't. But, you know, people are kind of insular that way, aren't they? Okay. Okie dokie. Right, so that's that dry. Let's just get the rest of that tealy colour wiped up. or mostly wiped up anyway. And I'm going to go back to the white again. There's enough grey on there. I don't really want to add any more, but I'm going to go back to the white. But white acrylic paint rather than white gesso this time. There we go. And then I'm going to use a small detail brush. Actually, not that one, that's better. And I'm going to draw just straight white lines. Almost like a sunburst. From the middle. So this is going to take a little bit of time, so I shall go on to fast forward. And then I'll join with you when I'm ready for the next step. Okay, again, let's get that dried off. Okay, so that is now dry enough for me to work on, so I'm now going to come back in with one of those acrylic markers, and I'm just going to, just lightly add in a few kind of blackish lines. Just to add a bit of contrast to all of that. I'm not worried about that little bit in the middle not being the right kind of angle just yet, because I can always just go and disguise it just a little bit. Mix a little bit of the white in with the black, turns that a little bit grayer, which then kind of helps to blend it all together. Like so. And as I've said before, sometimes you think to yourself when you're trying out something new, it can either go very, very well or very, very badly. Right, okay, so we've got that. I've used the markers, found objects, which is the clock, the tissue paper, and I've also got paint on there as well. We've now got this lovely kind of sunburst, or I don't know what you want to call it, esoteric burst coming from the centre of the page. It's a bit wet, so I need to get it dry, and then I'll be back. Okay, haven't stuck it down, just laid it over the top. That's what it looks like. It's all dry. It's still a tad warm, but that doesn't really make any difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to position my mask now just over the top of that bit there. Now I could theoretically just tuck that underneath there if I wanted to, just to hold it in place. but it doesn't really make any difference. Give my purple paint a bit of a shake up. Now this is going to be a little bit like a shock to the system if I just put that eggplant colour just down as is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix up with a little bit of water first of all, and then I'm going to add just a tad, just a tiny tad of gesso, just to kind of lighten it up a little bit. But the reason I've added it after I've done that is because I don't particularly want to do it on the mat first. That's it. So it might be a little bit too wet. I know it sounds a bit strange, but there we go. Just dry it off a little bit. And then I'm going to start in the middle on the paper and just work my way just gently fading out. So working my way harder in the middle and then lighter as I'm going round, and I'm holding the mask down. There we go. Just off that page a little bit. And you can see where you probably need it a bit more. I'm just going to spin the page round, holding it in place. There we go. I think time for that to come off. There we go. And just go around. I'm kind of using the clock that's underneath as kind of like my guide of where to stop. Probably a lot of you out there going, "You should have stopped ages ago." Okay, let's just clean that up. Off my fingers, and then I can just lift the mask up. There we go. It's like that. Get that dried off. Okay, so now that's dried, I'm kind of thinking to myself, put the mask back down and let's do some splatters. I know. But I think it needs it. So let me just shake up that gesso a bit. It's better. That's better. Just get a little bit on the edge. That'll do. Right, so let's just hold it back in place. There you go. That's much better. I'm liking that a lot. Okay, so I need to clean this up because, you know, I've just kind of splattered everywhere. Not good. There we go. Anyway, let me clean up, get this dried, and I'll be right back. Okay, so my splatters are dry, I think. And I just want to tone down those black lines a little bit. So I'm going to use a jelly roll. This is the medium or number 8 jelly roll white pencil. What I'm going to try and do, and I know this is a medium one, imagine what the fine one's like. So I just want to tone down those black lines a little bit, because I find them just a little bit too, it's probably just me. But they're just a little bit too in your face for my liking. And seeing as black wasn't one of the colours, I think it's allowed. Well, anything's allowed. You can still see it, but it's not quite so strong. I like the little detail of just adding on the dots on the black. It almost makes it look as though you've thought about it. That's better. It's a bit more controlled, a bit more disguised. So now the only thing that we haven't done is add a label. Okay, so the last thing really is to add labels. Now I did look at using my label maker, but I thought it was too big. I didn't really like the fonts because I can only do one font on my label maker. And also it was black. As in, I've got a label maker that prints black onto white, and I've got a label maker which is black which impresses white. Neither, I think, are kind of suitable. So what I've done is I've printed some off. So I've created my own little word labels. Now instead of doing one long quote, I've actually done just a 6-word quote, but I've done it in such a way that I can actually do all the words individually. So use them all as individual labels instead. So a little bit more fiddly, a little bit more intricate, takes a little bit longer to do, but I was then able to control the colour of the font. So I've done a purple one, a darkish purple. I don't know whether the colour can be picked up by the camera, whether it's sensitive enough to pick up the colour. Let me see. It's not black, it's actually purple. Well, hopefully you'll be able to see that. So let's just cut those. Like I said, a little bit more time consuming, but worth it in the long run, I think. Well, I'm hoping so anyway. There we go. Right, so I've got glue stick. Oh, God, grief. It's an Elmer's Extreme School Glue. So what I'm going to do is just add each of those on. And I'm going to put them down here at the bottom. Like I said, it's 6-word, so I can do 3 and then 3 underneath. because then you're in control of where they appear. Should make that a little bit smaller, I think. Just whip off a little bit on the left and the right. There we go. I've enjoyed doing this last few months, Mission Inspiration, because the prompts have been done by somebody other than me, which is nice because normally I'm having to work with my own prompts, so I'm setting my own prompts and then working to those, so it's nice to do somebody else's for a change. Right. I suppose I should have used the other Elmer's purple glue, shouldn't I? The one that goes clear. Yeah. That would have made more sense. Keeping with the purple theme. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. Let's just sort that out. Sorry about that. Right, so let's put that away, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in with a black pen. You know, even after all what I said about the black there, I still need to introduce a little bit more. So let's just gently just add a little bit of pop. I mean, there are so many different quotes about inner light from people as far apart as Martin Luther King, Gandhi, the Beatles even did a song called Inner Light. It's part of their I think it was on the B-side of Lady Madonna, but don't quote me on that one. It's a while since I've played any Beatles songs. Okay, so we've got that, but I'm also going to use, oh, the pen, by the way. Yeah, it's by, and it says 0.35mm. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. It was sent to me in Happy Mail. I'm guessing possibly Sakura or Sakura, you know, depending on your pronunciation, but like it because it's really fine point. Okay, so just to finish off then, I'm just going to do a kind of very fine border just all the way around. Bit of a different one this time, not the squiggly lines that I normally do. But still a border. Sometimes pages call for borders, sometimes borders can be used just to kind of finish off and unify a colour on the page that you haven't necessarily used a lot of, but still kind of calls for it. See, I can't resist the squiggly lines, can I? It's like it's calling to me. Do the squiggly lines. Do the squiggly line thing. And the last one. There we go. That's it, I think. So let's pull in the prompt guide. So we've got teal, purple, grey. Yes, done. Finding the light. Absolutely. Labels, markers, found objects. Yes, and paint. So I think that is mission accomplished. Thank you, Gina, for that. Really enjoyed doing that art journal page today. Something completely different. And working on, like I said, somebody else's prompts is always a pleasure. So hope you've enjoyed watching me create that art journal page based on May's mission inspiration prompts created by Gina Ahrens. If you'd like to join in with us in our Mission Inspiration Facebook group, then there is a clickable link in the description area below. That's the link to it on screen now, but there is a clickable link in the description area below. It's now a private group. It's no longer public. Just some of the things that Facebook changed. I mean, we had to go completely private, which is better, I think. It just means that you can't share things outside of the group, but compromise and all that kind of thing. So it's a totally safe space, and there are fast approaching almost 5,000 people in that group now, all watching, all sharing, all commenting. It's a very safe, supportive and very, very friendly group to be a part of. And there are two main challenges each month. There's the main Mission Inspiration, and then there's the mid-month mini Mission Inspiration a fortnight after. So, but there's lots of hints, tips and discussion going on in that group all the time. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. So once again, thanks to Gina for a fantastic set of prompts. That's all from me. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.